with you today. I'm not sure if y'all do the meditation before or after the service, but is it okay if I do it before? That works? Okay. We do it both ways. Your church goes both ways? Okay. I heard that about y'all. Okay, so anyway, what happens is I get so excited with my talk that I forget to do the meditation if I do it afterwards. So, Angelina, meditation. All right, so we're going to do a very simple chant to lead us into our meditating time. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. And we invite you now to breathe that peace more deeply into your body, envisioning with each inhale every cell of your body becoming relaxed, moving into the daily word of quietness. Quietness where the real excitement happens. Quietness, calming the mind, and relaxation. Breathing in the peace of God, breathing out what no longer serves us. Breathing in joy, acceptance, and love. And breathing out and sharing that with the world at large. As we go into our inner quietness, allow the music now to take you on your very own sacred journey into the quietness and peace of God. Oh.
All right. Well, thank you. Today's talk is I Now Pronounce You Not Guilty. And we are going to be talking about our innocence, our worthiness, and our lovability.
Very easy to see that here. So, let's take a deep breath together. In. The breath of life. It is amazing when we get stressed or trafficky or frustrated how we can change quickly with just a few deep breaths. But it's the last thing you're going to want to do in that moment. That's why we have to do it. It's like, I want to take care of this. I want to give that person a piece of my mind. And then how about just a breath? And then you get back to what the truth is. So, well, first off, I have to talk a little bit about quietness, which is not one of my strong suits. When I was a little kid, my mom used to say, Armand, you're like Marmaduke. And I go, Marmaduke? Yeah, 2 speeds, fast and fast asleep. So quietness has not always been, and it's been a big practice for me to get that. I even did something really strange one time. I went away on a 10-day Vipassana meditation yoga course where I had to be silent for 9 of the 10 days. And people that I tell that still don't believe that happened. They think that I went to like Vegas or something during that time. And Angelina is just amazing in her ability to handle me. A lot of times people say, do y'all have kids? And I say, well, my wife has a special needs child. And usually it's very easy, because she is more than anybody else, and my mom as well, always helped me to feel innocent with my neurodiversity, helped me feel lovable in my neurodiversity. So sometimes, Angelina, if it's early in the morning and I'm bouncing off the walls and she needs to prepare for church,
Right.
she has this great thing she says to me that completely, I get it. It's not a put down, it just is.
Well, I said this one morning because I wake up really early to get ready. I'm not a morning person, so it takes me a little longer. And I love having that quiet time of doing my hair, putting my makeup on. And Armand, I don't know how he does it, but he wakes up so full of life. And he comes in the bathroom, and he kind of knocked me out of that. And I said, Mommy needs quiet time.
And it worked. It was not putting me down. It's just, you're so right. I will go and take this elsewhere. And so I don't know about you, but in my early church time, I heard things like, you were born in original sin. Anybody ever hear that? Dr. Phil would say, how's that working for you? What a weird feeling to be told in your spiritual group. Angelina and I both were born into Catholic families. We're still 3/4 Catholic. And one of the things I love about unity is an inclusive philosophy. And it says, whatever you did before, bring into unity what works for you from there. And what doesn't work, we may be able to actually add a more metaphysical, empowering meaning to it. Or if not, we'll show you new stuff. So it's all part of the deal, part of the coexist bumper sticker. We bring it all in. And so, but that particular philosophy really makes you feel like you're not part of God. How can you be part of God and be born in original sin? And then I get into unity in 1984, mainly because I'd given up church for 9 years, and one of my friends says, Armand, I went to a church the other day in Florida, and they talk like you. And I went, a church? No. I said, I don't really like church. And he goes, no, they told me this is the church for people that don't like church. And I went, and I was completely hooked ever since. By the way, I do have another jacket besides this, even though in that picture right there, it looks like this is my only jacket. Okay. And so I've been doing it ever since, and never thinking that it would become my full-time career, back in the 90s. And so the idea that unity taught me, you were born as an original blessing. How does that feel? Doesn't that feel better? That's who you are. And so even when you sidestep your beauty through actions or words or thoughts, the inherent innocence, beauty, and worthiness of you is still there. Okay, another thing I love about unity is unity talks about your unlimited possibilities. Anybody watch Ted Lasso? Ted Lasso is a TV show on Apple TV that uses a lot of spiritual new thought principles, especially self-help principles, which you wouldn't normally find in TV. It was recommended on a podcast with Brene Brown and Esther Perel. And I went, wait, these fabulous goddesses are talking about TV show? What? And it was that. But he likes to say, when I see the word impossible, I don't see impossible. I see I'm possible. You know, and to me, that's a unity philosophy. We don't talk about limitations. However, I will tell you a limitation that you have, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And that is, it's impossible for you to be unlovable. Who's tried? It's impossible for you to be unworthy. It is you. It is not changeable. How you express your worthiness and your lovability, that's up to you. But your worthiness and your lovability is there all the time. And to me, I like to be a part of a philosophy that knows that. So when I get off track, I'm brought back in, okay, from a place that my lovability did not change.
Right.
I'm just trying to see where we are here. She makes me notes because she knows I squirrel now and then.
Well, we could talk about how when we're in our behaviors, the children, and especially children.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a great thing. So we study a guy named Greg Bear. He wrote the Real Love Work. Has anybody heard of the Real Love Work? It's fantastic relationship stuff. But it's not just romantic relationships. It's every relationship. And what he says is, ultimately at our core, our ego, our human self, our little child, the person that came right into the world, just wants to know they're lovable. They just want to know they're loved and lovable. They don't even mind being disciplined if it's done in love. As a matter of fact, they feel safer than just to run free all the time by a person they feel that loves them and protects them with discipline. Animals are the same way. Dogs feel safer with a disciplining adult as long as it's done with love. And so what he says is, no matter what you say to a child, and that's all of us, especially here, the inner child is alive and well here, we noticed last night. We all are inner children of God, okay? We are children of God. Do you know how I know for a fact that we are children of God? I've read a lot of spiritual books, and none of them ever said we were adults of God. Right? So by the process of elimination, we must be children of God. And so what he says, the child in all of us, especially the young child, before we get to be in our teens and stuff, when we get frustrated, when we get angry, when we get disappointed, and we direct that at them. Now, we're going to get frustrated and angry and disappointed. That is part of life, okay? Your lovability is part of life, and your human ego is part of life. But when we take out that frustration, that disappointment, and that anger on a child, they only hear one thing. At this moment, I am not lovable, okay? And so Dr. Greg Bear says it's very important to remember that so you can frame what you're talking about in a place that gives the person or child the message that they are lovable. And I'll give you a great example in relationship because we're together 24/7 pretty much for almost 25 years. And there's lots of options and opportunities to get triggered.
Yes,
Right?
there are.
Right, triggered. And so did you have to say it that emphatically? Okay. And so.
Well, no, I'm saying I get triggered a lot.
Yeah,
So.
but why? Okay, anyway, no, we're not going there. Okay, so one of the things that he says that you can do is rather than respond or react real quickly, that's it. It's more about responding versus reacting. The reacting when somebody says something that makes you not feel lovable, the reacting is to sort of attack back. You talked sometimes about the behaviors. What are some of the different behaviors we do that make people feel unlovable?
So Dr. Greg Bear says that as children, when we are being spoken without being unlovable, they acquire behaviors. So what they learn that through behaviors, they're either going to get something or protect them. Getting love or protecting themselves. So some of these behaviors would be lying, running, clinging, attacking, acting like a victim. So it's easy. In fact, I know we weren't going to talk about it this morning, but we had a little situation, and I was not filled up because Greg Bear says if we're filled up with love, then we won't react in these behaviors.
Right, we can respond because we're filled up
We
while
can
we're...
respond in a loving way. Well, obviously I wasn't filled up because I went into attacking behavior, and it was not kind and loving. We did get out of it, though, and when I figured out, what was going on, I came back and apologized for my behavior.
And I reacted to her reaction with an angry behavior. So you see, he calls it the field of death, where no one wins. You get into that reaction. And we both, I think you came out and says, you want to meditate right now?
Yes,
and normally
I did say
meditation doesn't happen on Sunday because she gets up about 3 hours before she goes, before she has to be somewhere. So she can just breathe. And it's all, I think your makeup and hair is really a meditation because she goes in there and she is just doing it. And look at the product. And she just does that. And it's best that I don't go in there that much. But she said, I think we need a 10-minute meditation, and we did. And all of a sudden, we got filled up, and we started to laugh a little bit how quickly that we can go into that reactionary mode.
Right.
And so what we do in our relationship, if either one of us says something to the other one that kind of hurts our feelings for a moment, rather than respond or react back too quickly, one of the things he says you can do that just helps things is, I'm not sure what you said. I'm not sure what you meant. But right now, I feel like you don't love me. Isn't that a sweet thing in that moment? Because what happens is the person that loves you, if you react, then you might get them to defend themselves. But if you say, this has nothing to do with you, this is what I'm feeling right now is unlovable, that you don't love me, then the person will usually say, oh my God, that's the exact opposite of how I would ever want you to feel around me. And then they get in a place of thinking, what did I say? How can I say it? Blah, blah, blah. So that's a great thing to say, and that's with any relationship, that you're close enough to say that to. You know, Brene Brown says, everyone deserves your love. Not everyone deserves your trust. And you don't want to go intimate, trusting situations with people that will take advantage of that. My favorite one is when you say, wow, I'm feeling hurt. And they go, well, you know, you could heal that. That's called spiritual malpractice. You know, you could heal that. Or another one that I really think is really disastrous is when you say, wow, I'm really having a tough week. Just this thing. Well, why did you create that? That's when I say, oh, why did you create this? But I don't. But anyway, these are tools. Here's how you know that you've done all your relationship work. You won't be here. I think there's always a little more to do, and somebody else will come along just when you think you're on top of the mountain, and they'll come on and they'll give you that mirror that you can't stand, the mirror. We talked about mirrors last night a little bit. And so the really important thing is to remember when you're talking with other people, there is an innocent, beautiful, worthy, lovable little child in them, no matter what they said or did. And there are ways to get in touch with that.
And a tool that I use, and I didn't do it this morning, but when I find out that I'm getting triggered, it's good for me to leave the room and just not abandon the situation. So I'll say, Armand, I'm feeling triggered. I just need to leave and figure out why am I not filled up? What do I need to be filled up because I'm reacting?
And you usually say, I'm not abandoning you.
Right, I'm not abandoning you.
I'm going for me.
Right. So I will come back and we can talk about it, but I just need to get in a better space. So when I do that, I always, go, what's triggering? What's going on? And is it something that's just me or something that we need to talk about because that we need to fix so it doesn't happen again? And 90-something% of the time, it's me. And so I just come in and what do you usually do?
Well, 90% of the time, I think of how I could have been a little more mindful with what I said and how I said it, because I'm going, I can see that. I know some past relationships she's had and how that might have triggered that thought because I was acting like them. So anyway, we both come back filled up, ready to, it's almost a non-problem usually by that time because I realized what I said, I apologized, she realized how she reacted, apologized. It's a great, great tool.
That would have been great this morning, huh? Oops.
Yeah. So he gives an example. I'm not sure if he wrote this example or I wrote this example based on his example, but it's an example. He says, imagine that you have a teenage child, a grandchild or child, and you're in charge of teaching them to drive. And you're like, you know what? We're going to just do the driveway for now. You have a nice long driveway. Just get a feel of the car, turn it on, feel the wheel, put it in gear, put it in reverse, go slowly, feel that, feel the brake, okay, yeah, and just go driveway, up, back, and just kind of get the feel of the car. Well, one day, they get really, really excited, and they don't wait for you to come out. And they get in the car, and they I got this, and they put it in reverse, and they go through the garage, but the door wasn't up. The door wasn't up. And you hear this horrible, one of the most horrible sounds you've ever heard in your life. And you walk out there, and there is your kid slumped over the steering wheel, losing it for what they just did. He says your natural reaction, because you're not filled up at that moment, there is no way, unless you're a saint, that you would be filled up with love and worthiness in that very moment, is to attack and make them wrong. What's wrong with you? That's a terrible thing to say to anybody. What's wrong with you? What did you do? I can't believe you did this. You're in so much trouble. So what he says is, in that moment that you are feeling so reactionary and angry and disappointed and frustrated and not filled up, you go to the person, you say, I just want you to know, I love you this moment as much as I've ever loved you. That's not going to change. We are going to have to deal with this situation, but I'm kind of freaking out right now, and I need to take care of that. Okay, not to do with you. We'll talk about this later. Just go inside, turn the car off and all that. We'll talk about it. And then I call my other friend. I say, Bob, I want to kill my kid. Okay, so that's how you do that. I want to kill my kid. Now, why? Because he's not the one that frustrated you. So he can be, he can hold that space. He can be neutral. And he can say things like, yeah, if that happened to me, I'd probably be feeling like you are now, which are, the minute I have a comrade, I'm getting filled up. What he's doing is he's loving me up. And he's saying things like, yeah, bottom line is garage doors can be replaced. It's metal and plastic. And you know you love your kid. And your kid's probably falling apart right now. And then when I get filled back up, I say, thank you, Bob. I'll let you know how it all works out. And I go back and I say, still love you the same. We're going to talk about this like your allowance for the next 10 years. But we're going to continue to teach you to drive, and you've learned a lesson that sometimes you can't learn in a more profound way that you did. Okay, and we talked last night, we gave away a bluebird to the two wisest people. They were like in their 90s, I think. Well, you were one of, well, I can't even, I have cognitive dissonance when I look at her and she says she's 90. That does not work. But we gave the bluebirds away, you know, and just the wisdom. And I always say the wisdom from so many opportunities to do things wrong makes you so great when you get older, because we're in our 60s and we'll do something like there'll be a glass near the edge of the thing, and we'll walk by and we'll go, I'm going to put that further in the middle. And we go, 60s. Right. And we've all got tons of those. Each generation, we get some new little things that help us to become better and not have to go through the same things. So to me, it's all about lovability. Let the kid and all your friends and your family and your children and your grandchildren, everybody, know that regardless of what's going on, including when it's time to set boundaries, that is necessary. There's an old saying, when you're getting ready to say something or do something, ask this question, is it true? And if it's not true, don't do it unless you're pranking your wife, and then it's okay to do that. But because I do prank a lot, and it's not totally true. But then you ask if it meets the muster on true, is it kind or is it necessary? So is it kind? Well, to tell somebody that you can't deal with them being the way they are around this situation, that might not necessarily be kind, but that is necessary, because it might be a boundary that you need to set in order to take care of yourself. You know, remember that wonderful biblical quote, love thy neighbor? What was the next part? As thyself. That's the tough one. Who finds it easier to love the universe and other people better than love themselves? It's natural, because we have more ammunition. Right? We have more ammunition, but it's still very important. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And setting boundaries is a wonderful way to love yourself through anything that's going on, because we do have to respect and love everyone, but we don't have to trust them. We don't have to give them freedom to do things that do not work for us. So if we love thy neighbor as thyself and we take care of ourselves, then we will be less reactionary. Even the word you used earlier is an interesting word, trigger. Anybody ever get triggered? If you think about getting triggered, you have to realize it's a tiny little thing that triggers. The ammunition was already in the gun, or the whatever. Let's not use the word gun. The ammunition was already in that thing. And that person triggered it, okay, to help you see what you hadn't worked on, okay, to help you see where you get to do better. Again, that doesn't mean you don't have a wonderful, responsive talk with them. And even to say, when this kind of behavior goes, it triggers a certain thing in me. I don't like it. Can you do me a favor and not speak that way and do that kind of thing? You can do that. That's a request.
Now, Armand?
Yes.
I was, I have a coughing thing going on, so I was coughing. But did you ever go back to the child and say what was going to happen?
Yes. We talked to the child, and we said we're going to take their allowance for
allowance,
several years,
right.
and then everything's fine. But they felt loved. If the parent did it that way, they felt loved before they broke the garage door, after they broke the garage door, and then when you came back and still loved them. And that's how we get to be.
And like you said, discipline makes them feel safe and loved,
Absolutely.
actually.
Discipline actually is a positive thing. So I would like to close the session today, the speaking part, with a song that
Let me just put one more tool in here, because this one's really good too. So this is from Michael Singer, who wrote The Untethered Soul. And he says that to lean back and be the observer. And so for me, that is so wonderful if you can think about that, because if you actually physically lean back, it can stop you in whatever that trigger or that thing that's going on. And so just another little tool in there. So if something's up and this and that, just lean back, and as you're leaning back, it should dissipate a little bit, and you'll feel, you'll be the observer. Instead of being in it, you'll be the observer.
And it's a great way, physically or mentally, to lean back and recognize that you are the wise goddess that is watching the other you interact with this person, and you can guide them to how to do that better. So years ago, I wrote a song, and it deals with the idea of our beautiful, fabulous innocence. And it was inspired by an Oprah show. Anybody used to watch the Oprah show? We used to, when we first started dating, we had this thing, it's called a VCR. Y'all ever heard of it? And we'd put the tape in, and it knew how to record Oprah. She was like on 4 o'clock in Florida every day. And then we'd eat dinner that night, and we'd watch that Oprah show. That was another church service for us in our own way. She had 2 ex-convicts on her show. Both of them had been in jail for 10 or 15 years. And they'd both been in jail for taking the lives of family members. And the reason they were ex-convicts is because they were exonerated through a wonderful little technology called DNA testing. Their lawyers had done the DNA testing and found out that, yes, they were suspects, yes, they were found guilty, but the DNA said it wasn't them. And so they got out. And so she had them on the show to talk about that. And they were very grateful to be out. And they didn't seem to have a whole lot of resentment. They were just glad to be back with their family and to be proven innocent. But what threw everybody, including Angelina and I, is when Oprah said, but you both went to jail because you confessed to the crime. Why would you do that? And they said, well, there's a lot of factors. Number one, we were in trauma because family members had died. Number two, we were suspects and taken in, which confused us even more. And number three, we were interrogated over and over. You know you did it, just admit it, we'll lessen your sentence. Why don't you just get this done? And part of the reason officers do that is because they do want to get the case wrapped up so they can do other things. It's not all negative. They're trying to get the truth out. But the innocent child can get confused. And I started weeping. And Angelina goes, why are you weeping? And I said, because all of us, at some point in our life, have been interrogated, have been told we were wrong when we weren't, have been told we were the wrong size, the wrong shape, the wrong color, the wrong weight, the wrong religion, the wrong political party, whatever. We've all been told that you're doing something wrong.
We can even sometimes do it to ourselves.
Oh, we definitely do
right?
it to
Tell
ourselves.
ourselves
Hello.
that we're, not this, or we should be this, or...
Yes, and then we feel like we're guilty. So this song is called Innocent. About this young kid who served his prison time for a crime he did not do. He gave a false confession, and when they asked him why, he said, I did not know the truth. He was innocent. Thought about my own life, how I was like that kid when they told me I was bad. I offered my confession to what they said I did, and lost the childhood I once had. I am innocent, I did nothing wrong. I've been serving time for this crime for far too long. I am not to blame for what I didn't do. There is nothing I need to prove. I am innocent. You are innocent. This is the time for justice. This time we're gonna get it right. We're finally hearing the whole truth. You know what I did? I fired all my juries and got the pardon I deserved. And now I'm freeing other inmates too. You are innocent. You did nothing wrong. You've been serving time for this crime for far too long. You are not to blame for what you didn't do. There is nothing you need to prove. We are innocent. We did nothing wrong. We've been serving time for this crime for way too long. We are not to blame for what we didn't do. There is nothing we need to prove. I am innocent.
You are so lovable.
You are innocent.
Who you are is so important.
We are innocent.
You deserve so much love.
There is nothing we need to prove. I am innocent.
You are worthy.
You are innocent.
You are perfect in every way.
We are innocent. I now pronounce us